There was once a forest untouched by man's hand. No paths were paved. No signs marked direction. It existed beyond time, beyond maps of space shaped not by wind or rain, but by choice. And in the middle of this forest stood a tree, ancient, massive, vast enough to block the sky. Its branches stretched into the clouds. Its roots dove deep into the molten whispers of the earth. But the tree was not made of wood. It was made of your habits. Yes, your habits. The ones you build without noticing. The ones that build you when you're not watching. And through this forest wandered a child. He was not weak. He was not strong. He was potential in raw form. He had curiosity stitched into his fingertips, questions woven into his breath, but he had no guide, only impulse as his compass. The tree called to him, not with words, but with temptation. Some fruits shone with unnatural beauty. Their skins pulsed like they were alive, beckoning, seducing. Others sagged, rotten and stinking, yet still tempting in their promise of easy pleasure. One fruit whispered, "Why try?" Another sang, "You deserve more." Yet another growled, "Let them see your anger. It's your right." And the child being a child reached. It tasted like peace, a pause, a breath. "You can do it tomorrow," it said sweetly. But as the juice ran down his chin, he felt a strange weight in his limbs, a fog in his thoughts. And as he sat beneath the tree, time slipped by like a thief. He wasn't resting. He was drifting. Hours turned to days. Dreams dulled. Vision blurred. This one tasted like hunger. Not for food, but for what others had. It showed him visions, someone else's joy, someone else's success, someone else's beauty, strength, applause. It filled his belly with fire, but a fire that didn't warm. It burned only him, made him hate his own reflection. It made him feel powerful, for a moment, for a flash. It roared through him like thunder, but when the storm passed, all it left was wreckage. Hurt words, burned bridges, a hollow echo, and then he heard it. Not a sound, but a presence. The tree began to speak not with a voice, but with wisdom, ancient, relentless, familiar. From its bark emerged a shape, not a man, not quite, but something wearing the gravity of Marcus Aurelius, cloaked in stillness. Eyes like a storm held in a glass jar. His presence didn't comfort it exposed. It reflected the child back to himself. "If you are distressed by anything external," said the tree, "the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of Itand. This you have the power to revoke at any moment." The child trembled. "Why do I feel lost?" he asked. "Because you mistook the whispers of your weakness for the voice of your will." And so the journey began. The child realized he had to climb not to escape, but to confront. Every branch was a challenge. Every level tested a different weakness. The branches here shimmered with noise, notifications, comparisons, mindless scrolling, thoughtless consumption. He nearly fell 100 times until he closed his eyes and breathed. Concentrate every minute like a Romanon, doing what's in front of you, with precise and genuine seriousness. He moved on. Here the air grew heavy. Every branch cracked under his weight. His mind echoed with, "You're not enough. You'll fail. Others do it better." But then he found a carving on the bark. It read, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." He stood taller. Now the climb became steep. Some branches were golden, polished. They said, "You're better than them. They should see you rise. Claim the glory." But then the wind carried a whisper. When another blames you or hates you, or people voice similar criticisms, go to their souls, penetrate inside and see what sort of people they are. You'll realize there is no reason to be racked with anxiety that they hold any particular opinion about you. And the golden branches, they crumbled. When he reached the final branch, there was no fruit, no gold, no applause, only silence, and then clarity. From that height, he He saw the tree not as an enemy but as a reflection. Every habit that tried to pull him down was something he had fed. The sweet poisons didn't come from the tree. They grew because he allowed them. But he also saw the roots he planted by climbing. The root of discipline. Small acts, repeated, without needing applause. The root of acceptance. Of life, of death, of what he cannot control. The root of virtue. Doing what is right because it is right. The sky did not roar. It did not flash lightning or rain fire. It simply opened. And from it came a voice calm, unshaken, like it had been waiting for lifetimes to be heard. It was the kind of voice that doesn't speak to your ears, but to your core. Not loud, not urgent, but inevitable. The Stoic does not deny the darkness. He simply does not feed it. And in that one line, the child realized something no teacher, no book, no God, no battle had shown him. The darkness is not evil. The bad habits are not enemies. They are orphans, born of pain, fed by avoidance, clothed in your own forgetfulness. As the child looked around him, he began to see, not with his eyes, but with his understanding. Each fruit that had once tempted him now revealed its core. The fruit of procrastination was soft, overripe, fear of starting, fear of judgment, fear of failure, wrapped in, I'll do it later. The fruit of anger was fermented pain rage bottled up by silence, by the absence of being heard. The fruit of envy was hollow, inside driven by an illusion that someone else's happiness subtracts from your own. The fruit of lust, ego, addiction, laziness, control. They were all variations of the same hunger, to escape responsibility for your own growth. And the tree? It was not malevolent. It did not tempt him. It simply offered what he had already planted. The tree, ancient and tall, was a living record of choices made in moments of weakness and strength. The habits that hide, the voice said, hide because they are weak. They wear disguises: self, care, balance, pleasure, personality, authenticity, but they are cowards. They survive only in the unexamined life. But you have looked. And in doing so, you have taken away their shield. To bring a habit into the light is to hold a mirror to it, and it cannot bear its own reflection. It begins to shrink. It stumbles. It stutters. It says, I was just trying to help. It says, you'll need me again. It says, you'll come back. But it knows the truth. You've changed. The child thought he was climbing a tree. But the higher he rose, the more he realized he wasn't climbing up. He was climbing inward. Each branch was a trial. Each level a virtue. Courage was the first rung to begin, even in confusion. Discipline followed to continue, even when no one saw. Humility to listen, to be corrected without collapsing into shame. Compassion not just for others, but for your past selves, the ones who fell for the fruit because they didn't yet know better. Wisdom to know that knowing is never done. When he reached the highest branch, there was no throne, no applause, no audience, just stillness, clarity, space. And that's when he heard the final truth. The true battle is not about never falling. It is about rising consciously, again and again. That was the initiation. That was the awakening. To fall is human. To rise blindly is animal. But to rise consciously to fall, look around, learn, and then stand with wisdom, that is Stoic. That is divine. And in that moment, the child was no longer a child. He became the sentinel of the tree. Not its conqueror, not its owner, but its watcher, its student, its gardener. As he descended the tree, it was not the same climb in reverse. It was a descent into the world with new eyes. Every fruit he once craved, he now recognized for what it was. A lie wrapped in flavor. A shortcut wrapped in language. A wound dressed as pleasure. And he did not feel hatred for them. He felt forgiveness. because he saw that even the bad habits had once been survival. Even his worst moments had been attempts to cope, to endure. But now, he didn't need escape. He had purpose. He had awareness. He had clarity. And you, yes, you are not reading this by accident. This story is not fiction. This story is your soul, remembered. It's been inside you the whole time. You are the climber. You are the tree. You are the silence. Every day, you're offered the same fruits. Some glitter with ego. Others drip with distraction. Some say, you've done enough. Others say, you'll never be enough. But you have something greater now, something earned. You have the will to climb, even when you don't feel ready, even when the branch feels weak, even when the fruit calls your name. You know better. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Receive without pride. Let go without attachment. These are not quotes. They are tools. Use them like weapons. Use them like medicine. Use them like torches in the dark. Because the world will try to pull you back down the tree. With noise, with fear, with comfort, with conformity. But you've seen too much now. You've seen what clarity feels like. You've seen the view from the top. Climb. Not for the world. Not for your image. Not for perfection. Climb because you can. Climb because you must. Climb because the climb itself transforms you. The tree is not your enemy. The bad habits are not your fate. The voice in the sky is not a god, it is you, at your highest. Let the old you fall away like dead fruit. Grow toward the light. Rise consciously, again, and again, and again,